this goes over the setup on how to program that thermostat. When you're out in the field, most of the time you get to pick what thermostat you want to use when you're in the fields, what you want to have on your truck. So most of the time you're gonna have one or two on your truck, but there's tons of thermostats on the market. You need to know how to find the information you need to get into that setup menu. Because when you go into the setup menu, all it gives you is a number and a value. And you're gonna know what those number and value means, okay? Especially Honeywell. The Honeywells was the brand that I like to deal with, because one, it gives you fat boy room with your fat fingers. This is the sub base for most of them. But you have plenty of room. You can have your sub base out, plug your wires in, then this plugs into the sub base on your thermostat, okay? And then you just take your wires inside the wall, alright, and then you slide your thermostat on, right? Y'all know how to do that from this, right? So, but you have to go in and set it up, and you gotta know whether you have a heat pump, straight cool, whether you have 2 stages heat, 2 stages cooling, what your setup is. By now, y'all should know your heat side. I know we haven't got into the cooling side, like your heat pumps and stuff like that. Y'all are coming up on that, but y'all know y'all's wire terminals, right? The red, white, green, yellow, the B and O terminal, all that. This is where this comes into play. But to go into your setup menu, you push the up button and the bottom left button. You see that right there?
Same time?
At the same time. And then it'll bring you into the installer setup. And then say it'll show you a 2000 and the number 2 right there. Alright?
Yep.
So then you roll down here and you'll go through your next. So right there, you hit the button right there. So that'll allow you to go to next. And if you read right there, it shows next. You see it on the screen?
Yeah.
Notice it'll show you a previous button. So make sure you pay attention to what you're doing as you're going through, or you gotta go all the way through and go back into it and do it all over again. Alright? Which it will save and then get right back into it. But anyway, y'all know the difference between Fahrenheit and Celsius. And if you look right here, it's dark and then light or bold, I guess you could say, in regular. The bold is what factory default is. That's how it comes out of the box without touching it. Most of the time it's one heat, one cool for gas heat. Most thermostats, that's why it's gonna come out of the box. Okay? If you have a heat pump, guess what? You definitely have to get into the service menu and program this thermostat. We can set it up for different ways, depending on what our application is. Okay? So, see, this is where this comes into play. Right here. On 2000, heating system type, default setting values by model number. 1, conventional forced air heat. What is that? You know what that translates to?
My bad. Take your whole seat.
That's a gas.
Conventional.
And you have number 2, which is a heat pump. That's your air handler with the reverse, and then your condensing unit has the reversal valve outside. We talked about reversal valves a little bit, didn't we? Didn't we go over that one day?
Yeah.
So y'all know what a heat pump is. I know you don't know how it works yet, but you know what a heat pump is. But that's what you would have to set up to set that up, okay? Number 3 is radiant heat. And then number 5 is cooling only. Like if you just had an electric air handler, like that center unit on the side, standalone heater. Okay?
What'd you say the conventional forced air he was?
Gas furnace.
Gas. Okay. Cool.
Alright? And then you come down here, it's wanting to know more detail on what do we have. We have a standard efficiency gas furnace, high efficiency gas furnace, oil forced air, electric forced air, hot water fan coil. Alright? What's your standard furnace?
Oil forced air?
No, number one. We're doing number one.
Oh, standard efficiency?
Efficiency gas forced
Yeah.
air.
Is it conventional gas?
Conventional gas. Alright? But what's the standard efficiency?
What's the standard efficiency? Oh, he looking for a number or something.
I give you a hint. Look on the wall over there.
Standard efficiency on the wall. What, gas?
Oh, you
It's
talking
gas.
It's
about
gas.
80%.
Oh.
Exactly.
Oh, 80. So on the other one it would be 90.
90. High
Cool.
efficiency, 90.
Yep. Oh,
90
right.
plus,
Yep.
okay? So that's the difference on that. Oil forced air, you will hardly ever see those down in the south. Those who's going up to New York and Wisconsin and your northern states, they use natural gas, they use oil. They actually come to your house, put oil in a big tank, and it feeds oil to your furnace.
Mm-hmm.
They're nasty as hell. They are filthy, and they stop up all the time because they're stuffed in oil. But down here, you'll hardly ever see one. I've only seen one oil furnace in my 31 years of service.
Yeah.
Alright? So, you'll
Bless.
hardly ever see them. Electric furnace, or electric forced air, what do you think that is? Give you a hint, look on the right wall.
Heat strip.
Heat strips.
Simple.
That's the air handler. Alright? Hot water fan cool unit.
Hot water fan.
These units right here in the front, hydronics, y'all haven't got into hydronics yet,
Mm-hmm.
but that's what that is. Alright? You won't run into those much. Like huge apartment complexes, they will probably use like hydronics, your high rises in Midtown. Some of them, they use hydronics. But mass majority, they're gonna be like a water source heat pump or something like that. They're going to be, most of the time, it's not gonna be a hot water pool. Back in the olden days, you saw it a lot, but today's standards, you don't see it that much. Alright, air to air heat pump, that's gonna be mostly what you see. That's like what's back here in the back of the, room.
Mm-hmm.
Your geothermal heat pump, that's your Energy Star rated stuff. That's where they actually have a loop that goes underground and they use the earth as your condenser, okay? You don't see hardly any of those down here. You will see them, but not very often. Chances are you're gonna have to get more training to use that side of it, okay? Hot water radiant floor, there again, it's the hydronics up front. And then 12 steam. Back in the olden days, we used a lot of steam. You won't hardly see that anymore either. So, but like if you work in Midtown in your high rises for your heat pump, this is where you energize your B&O terminal. You remember I was telling you about the BO terminal? Here's your
Think
BO
so.
terminal. You have to tell it whether you want it to be energized in the O or the B. And a lot of times they don't tell you in cooling or heating. Most of the time it's just B and O. So, this one, they kinda tell you it's heat mode or cool mode. But most of the time it just tells you what B and O is. So, compressor stages. A lot of your high efficiency, units now have low speed and high speed. This is where you set that up. You want it 2 stages, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Your low speed will be first stage, your high speed will be second stage. This is where you set that up, okay? And if you see heat stages, back up heat strips, or heat stages. So that's where we're gonna wire all that in. Fan control, equip fan controls, thermostat controls fan. You can kinda decide, depending on what unit you're in, but you can determine whether the equipment's gonna control your fan or the thermostat's gonna control your fan. Auxiliary heat terminal, your emergency heat on your heat pumps. Remember what I told you what the E terminal is? What's the E terminal? What's it do?
Emergency heat.
Emergency heat.
Mhm.
But what does emergency heat do?
It turns on the second stage.
Turns on second stage and what? What else does it do?
Mm. That's it. Second stage heat. And
Brings on second stage heat and locks out your heat pump.
locks out the heat pump, huh?
So
That's right.
your heat pump will be locked out and you're only using your second stage heat. It's independent, yes. So if something's going on with your heat pump outside, you need the emergency heat, you can lock your heat pump out and just use your heat strips. Which if you're on heat strips, you can use gas. It's what we call a dual fuel, and it'll use the gas furnace exclusively instead of using the heat pump. Like my house, I have a dual fuel where I'm on the propane, so of course I is better off using the heat pump. But like I had a problem with my reversal valve on the heat pump, so I could lock out my heat pump and just use my gas furnace exclusively and lock out my heat pump outside. See what I'm saying? That's how we're able to do that. Alright, system changeover. It has manual and automatic. Manual, you have to switch from heat to cool. Automatic, it'll automatically switch from your heating setting to your cooling setting depending on the temperature in the space. Some people like it, some people don't. They wanna manually switch it over. Some want the equipment to do it automatically. That's depending on your customer and however you wanna set it up. Fahrenheit, auto changeover differential, your automatic changeover, you can set the differential on how many degrees you want. I would do a minimum of 2. You don't wanna get less than 2. You can increase it larger up to 5 degrees, but I normally set mine up for 2 degrees. And to keep in mind, your thermostat, say your set point 70 degrees. Your heat's gonna come on at 68 degrees and warm up to 70 degrees. And then your cooling won't come on until 72 degrees and then cool down to 70 degrees. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the automatic changeover comes in. And that's what the 2 degrees stands for. Come on in.
Hi guys, so
Hey, how are you?
pretty good. Can you might have some to your
No,
class?
go ahead.
Okay guys, so right now we have this thing going on, it's like
You can just kind of leave it in the default. Some of these will be on specs on a job that you're on or something like that, especially like if you're doing new construction. It'll tell you to set the settings, okay? That's why you see it's bold, no, it's defaulted, backup, heat drop, your increments on that, upstage timer for, backup heat. You can set your, timer for that. Your compressor lockout, you can kinda set your, lockout on those, and if you look, it only has certain thermostats that allow you to do that. When you go through your sequence and you hit next, it's gonna skip to certain, parameters, like if you're dealing with the heat, it's not gonna send you through the options for your heat pump. You see what I'm saying, the questions for the heat pump, it's only gonna, whatever pertains to gas heat. If it's in heat pump, it'll only ask you the questions pertaining to the heat pump, okay? So, you're not gonna go through all these options every time. If we can find some batteries, we can go through and y'all can go through the setup and see what we're talking about. But you just go through and just answer the questions. A lot of times, like I said, you just leave the default. The main thing is setting up your, like your Fahrenheit, your type of equipment that you're using, whether it's standard efficiency, high efficiency, using strip heat. This is your main area that you have to make sure you get right, and you gotta know what that means, okay? And then you scroll down, let's see, lockout, your compressor cycle rate, you can kinda set that up however, let's see, heat cycle rate, I just normally leave that whatever factory set point is on those. Heating cycle, auxiliary heat, like I said, it has the thermostats that it only pertains to, compressor, protection. You wanna make sure that that's on, and you normally wanna set it up for about 3 minutes. You guys set it at 5, but that's the time delay. You know, when you turn the thermostat on, that time delay it takes for it to come on. And the reason why we have that protection in there is, you know, when you get power surges hitting your house and your power come on, shut off, come on, shut off, come on, shut off, is to keep that compressor from coming on, shutting off, coming on, shutting off, and it'll burn your compressor up. So what you do is say, okay, I wanna see 5 minutes of clean power, 3 minutes of clean power before I bring the compressor back online. And that gives your, pressures inside that compressor time to equalize, because if it's running and you got 320 PSI on your high side, and it shuts off and comes back on, that compressor can't overcome that pressure. It's gotta shut off, kinda equalize, and then come back on to overcome the pressure. Make sense?
Is there like a common time frame that people use, like a minute?
I would typically set mine up for 3. Some guys set it up for 5. I set mine for 3 minutes. Of course, the minimum you wanna do is probably a minute. Like if you're working on the thermostat and you're having to set a bunch of boxes up and stuff like that, or service, you could drop that timer down to where it comes on right away. But I normally jump my unit out at the board instead of going through the thermostat, so you bypass that timer. You see what I'm saying? So, but some guys use the thermostat exclusive to bring the equipment on and off. You always want to make sure you bring the equipment on by the thermostat before you leave, to make sure you don't have a problem before you leave, okay? So make sure you do that, so you don't have a problem, but you can do that as you're getting your invoice signed and all that. But when you're working on the equipment, you can jump it out at the thermostat. Little set point that sets the height on, okay, the highest, I want my cooling set point 80 degrees, or it can be 99. I think it comes set up at 99. fact, it comes preset at 50 degrees. If, like you got rental property, somebody's in your house, and you got it set at 50 and they drop that thermostat down to 50 degrees, guess what? That system's gonna try to run until it gets 50 degrees. What's gonna happen to that coil if you run it for it to get down to 50 degrees? It's probably gonna freeze
It's
up,
gonna freeze,
right?
yep.
See what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So if you can set this parameter, I normally set mine to about 65. Is the minimum set point that they can get. Like if it's a renter situation, you don't want you to drop it below 65, so you don't freeze that coil up and cause nuisance problems on that. In your heating, you can set your minimum and maximum on that as well. Your filter replacement reminder, I normally set mine to 0, because if that filter light comes on, they're gonna burn your damn phone up over the chip filter light. Or you forget to reset this timer, you change the filter and you leave on your PM and you forget to set that up or reset it, and that filter light comes on, you gotta go out there just to reset this timer. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't know if that timer's on there. The backlight, that's the light behind the numbers on your screen. You can do it on demand whenever you touch the screen. You can do it where it's continuously on all the time. I've set mine up to where it just comes on whenever you're operating thermostat. Idle screen selection, 0 minimum information shown, 2 maximum display information shown. That's personal preference there. Temperature display offset. If you're working in an office tower, this is more on your commercial side. And it's what we call thermostat problem. Sometimes they go, oh, I'm cold. You can offset the reading of that thermostat by doing this temperature display offset. So say it's 70 degrees, you can get it where they're showing that it's 73 degrees, but it's really 70 degrees. Make sense? So that pretty much takes care of that. Y'all have any questions?
Nope.
No?
Not right
The
now.
main thing is y'all know what the difference is on your heat pump? Yes, sir. Yep. What your heat pump is, what your straight cool is, how many backup stages of heat you got. You know how to set that stuff up. That's where it's gonna play a role. When you buy the thermostats, you gotta make sure you buy that thermostat for the situation that you're buying it for. If you buy the lower end thermostats, you gotta buy a heat pump thermostat or a gas heat thermostat on a lot of them. Alright, like these thermostats right here. That's either set up for gas or for heat pump. You buy thermostats like the one y'all have,
Yeah.
we can set it up for both. If you got truck stop, you can choose to have 2, 4, whatever thermostats on your truck, or you could buy one that could do both, pay a little bit more, but you got more versatility with it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That, when you get out in the field, that's kinda gonna be a personal call. Cause most of the time, you're gonna be the one selling the thermostat, setting it up, and
Hell yeah.
making sure everything's right on it.
I like that.
You can go to the supply house, and you know that one that we had in the drawer that y'all wired in yesterday with the thermostat where you brought the wires in the back and you had your terminals?